Since the coronavirus is a very actual topic, I thought maybe it would be interesting to share with you how the situation looks like in Switzerland. You might have thought that Switzerland is a very rich, organized, and very advanced country. Will be very advanced also in the measures taken against the virus, but it's not necessarily the case. It's pretty much behind other countries, and the measures are being taken only right now. Let's first start with the numbers that are very sad but important information in order to understand how big of a problem it is in such a small country. In Switzerland, there are 2,200 cases of coronavirus. It's 800 more than yesterday. Of course, the region that is concerned the most is Ticino, which has a border to Italy. Zurich had until now 119 cases, and one of those cases is a 1-year-old baby. Unfortunately, today I read the information that in the whole Switzerland there are already 14 people dead because of the coronavirus. Because of the situation getting worse and worse, the government took some action, and on Saturday they had a press conference where they announced important points and changes that were introduced as of that day. The first information was that the schools were closed. Some universities are offering courses online, and they're trying to continue to pass the knowledge to people. But I think it needs some adaptation. The other thing, of course, is to limit the mass events. The information that the government gave a couple of days ago was that all the gatherings with 500 people and more should be avoided. Now the number has changed. Now it's 100 people. Another thing is the restaurants and bars. The restaurants and bars are restricted to receiving a maximum of 50 people, already including the staff. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not. I mean, of course you can have more space to have 1 meter of distance, but I think it's just better to avoid those places at all. The next thing that's changed is that all the ski resorts, swimming pools, any cultural events are closed and cancelled, which of course makes sense. Regarding the borders, they're still open, and I think for now they won't be closed, but of course the controls have increased. And the border with Italy is open only for Swiss people or people who have a work permit. It is very important because many Italians are working in Ticino, mostly in the hospitals and services. Of course, I would prefer if the borders would remain open and I would be able to visit my mom. But yeah, I think everyone is now avoiding traveling, and let's stick to that as long as needed. So I was talking about the Italian border. Today I read in the news that the trains and the planes from and to Austria will be suspended. It was a decision of the Austrian government. It will start as of tomorrow evening. So basically Austria is encouraging people to come back to the country. The government also prepared a fund to help companies in the time of this crisis, and it's 10 million francs. These are the most important things that I've heard during the press conference. And now, how has the life really changed since that press conference? So yesterday we went out of the house to, go to some shops and do the normal Saturday stuff. And I was observing how the city is changing, and I was comparing it also with the images I've seen in Brussels, or I've seen from friends in Poland or in Portugal, and I was really surprised. The first that shocked me, and it was also related to the press conference where the government was encouraging people not to use public transport. The public transport, maybe there are less people, yes, but there are still many people. And but the very important thing they did is they introduced a rule that people can't enter through the front door of the bus. And basically it's to protect the drivers who are exposed to thousands of people per day, and I think it's a very good measure. I even heard that in one of the cities they introduced free public transport because of that, so people don't have to buy the ticket with the driver. But unfortunately it's not Zurich. Then we went to to the center because there was a shop that we wanted to see, and the center seemed to me emptier than usually, but still we saw a lot of people, and I was really surprised, especially in the malls or in the shops. Business as usual. I don't want to say that nothing has changed, because in the center you can realize that there are less people taking a walk. I mean, it was Saturday, it wasn't raining, it was, let's say, nice weather, and it was emptier, of course, but it's still not like everyone is staying home, no one's leaving the house. There were coffees and bars open, people having fun. I think that panic has not reached here yet. I hope people will take care of themselves, but they won't be uh, getting into panic like in other countries. Later on, we went for some shopping. I wanted to buy some additional things like pasta and rice that I don't have, and unfortunately, I didn't find any pasta or rice. The shops are not as empty as I saw in Brussels or on photos from Poland or from Portugal, but definitely there are some things missing, and it's mostly pasta, rice, water, milk, sauces or canned food and frozen food and meat. So I didn't buy many things, and well, worst case scenario, we will make a little diet. The interesting thing is the toilet paper. I mean, I've seen many videos from people talking about the situation in different countries, and it comes up all the time. I don't know why people are freaking out so much. I understand a little bit the problem in Poland and people thinking about the time of the communism where there was no toilet paper. But still, I don't know how much toilet paper can you consume, and I hoped that here it wouldn't be the case, but is it saying there is no toilet paper in the shops? I saw a very funny meme sent by some Portuguese friends, and it was basically saying that the government told us to wash our hands and not our bums. Speaking of the government launched a document that is now everywhere in public places, in toilets, in restaurants, supermarkets, everywhere, where it shows the basic behavior that we should have facing the coronavirus. The fact that this document, a couple of weeks ago, it was still yellow and it was like a warning. Now it is in red. It also shows that the situation is changing and the government and people are realizing that it's getting worse. And another thing that influences a lot directly our life is the government recommended the companies to encourage its employees to work from home. By now, many companies have already sent their employees home and they are doing home office, but some are still. I think in the coming days it will also change because the government encouraged that on Saturday. So I think the situation is evolving. But for example, Peter's company introduced a rule that the teams are split into two, and a part of the team works from the office, the other part from home, and then after a week they switch, and during the weekend they make a disinfection in the office. And now, if you have home office, of course you have the problem with kids that are not going to school and so on, but you also have to have a working station. And yesterday Pedro was looking for some equipment for himself, and we realized that there were no monitors, or at least the monitors that he wanted to get for like proper working, there were just none. So we had to go into several stores, and he finally found what he wanted. He also bought a chair, so now he installed a big station in the living room. And it's funny, when we were walking with this huge chair box through the city, and I've seen so many people walking with monitors around. It's just incredible. Like, I think, of course, the virus is a serious thing, but the behaviors and the changes and how it influences the economy, it's also sometimes very funny, because I think that like many products will just be out of stock or already are. As I said, we didn't do much shopping, so let's see how it goes, because Peter said it's not needed, and I hope he's right by saying that the shops won't be closed for now. We will see about that. For now, I think as of today, we will try to stay home and and not get exposed. And of course, I hope that the situation in the world will get better, and in a couple of weeks we will all be able to go back to our normal lives. I'm afraid it won't happen so quickly, but there's always hope. In those difficult times, take care of yourselves and don't go to the beach like some Portuguese people did.